Yeah, Alphen. I thought he was gonna get sloppy gay sex with his best friend, but we don't live in that timeline. Yeah, I'm about 2 weeks ahead of the footage that you see right here. I started just playing it nearly every single day, and I would like to, as the title should suggest, unless I say something wacky and that decides what the title is gonna be, I finished the main story, and I am here to talk about the 8 individual stories of each of the travelers. So I've got their names in front of me. I was gonna do like a tier list video, but then I was like, man, I've got all this footage. It'll be a shame not to use the footage. Worst case scenario, if this video doesn't do well, I'll just re-upload it as a tier list video straight up. Man, it's YouTube sure is wild sometimes. Anyway, I got 8 characters to get through, and we'll do this alphabetically, or rather, we'll do it so it spells out Octopath, because the protagonists, see, the first letters of their names, they line up, and they say Octopath. It's such a silly thing. So the first O, because there's 2 O's in Octopath, is Ophelia, the cleric. Her full name, Ophelia Clement. And her story, let's see, how should I approach these? Let's go by what the overall message of her story was, I guess. Man, I'm gonna repeat basically all of this for when I do the long form video within the next couple of weeks. And then once that's done, I'm gonna hop over to the next little game, and I'm gonna do Morrowind. So it's just like this is kind of like a precursor to what's coming out in the future. Anyway, her story is that she is on a journey in place of her sister, her adoptive sister, to go take a flame from a cave and reignite all the other flames around the country, or continent rather, I guess. And yeah, every single town she stops in, normally it has to do with like there's kids involved, even if it's just her sister. I think her sister's slightly younger. I'm not exactly sure. The But yeah, I from what I've read, people don't like the fact that her story is just kind of it's got this importance to it, right? She's got to go relight basically the dragonfires to keep out the demon. Like if it was some other setting, it's like, yeah, this is like actually really important. This keeps it so that the god of evil stays the fuck out of the world. And if she doesn't succeed, the god of evil comes back and is in the fucking world. But, she joins up with the crew and goes off adventuring with everybody else, and it's just one of those issues of like, the individual character stories don't play well in context of each other. There are slight issues with that. I'll get into that when it comes time for the big thing. I guess what I'll be doing is a retrospective almost. Anyway, my thoughts on Ophelia's story. It's rather touching in terms of the family dynamics, because I still have my own complicated family dynamics and all that. But it's nice to see a character who gets to have an adoptive family, and that adoptive family turns out pretty cool and stuff. And altogether, it's also wonderful. Also, if the audio is a bit weird, I've been futzing about with it for a while. For some reason today, the microphone is just being really sensitive. I keep turning down the sensitivity, but like I can see that it's peaking, and even if I don't talk too loud, it still has problems. So I'm gonna have to mess with that. There's some issues going on with my setup. Anyway, next character. Cyrus Albright. Some of these names, they get to me. This isn't even the best one yet. Albright, like, he's a bright lad. So anyway, the scholar, if you've been following along even loosely, or if you just know the story. So, the gist of it is that he was falsely accused by one of the students of doing things with another. Mind you, I looked at the ages, they're actually, yeah, it in fact would be not great if you were doing those things with that specific student. I believe she was 17. But yeah, after dealing with the fallout of that, he was like, it's a great time to go on sabbatical and learn about books and stuff. And so his journey is one of every single one of these generally has a good lesson or moral of the story. It's just that some of the stories are told better than others, or they're more. Some of these stories are more applicable to the average person than other ones are. Cyrus's is fairly cerebral in that it's about how knowledge should be free for anyone to obtain, and that education should be as freely available as it can be. In fact, there's some side stories, some little side quests and whatnot. One of them is a young man who's going around trying to become a wandering teacher, and I've recently wrapped that one up in the post main game stuff. I've been doing all the side stories because that's part of what unlocks the secret final boss stuff. But I wanted to get through all of as much as I can. And also, yeah, sweet Jesus, I can. It's just like I'm looking at the audio waves. I'm like, why is it so? I'm not even near. I'm like, it's a foot. Normally, it's within like 6 inches of my mouth. There's a lot of jokes you can make there, but like, it's over a foot away, and I have a 70% sensitivity on the recording stuff, and normally it was at like 85% sensitive. I'll have to bring it down to like 70 or something for the next recording. Like, sweet Jesus. Anyway, his story pretty good. I don't know if I should like grade these on a metric, but I would say that his story overall was pretty decent. Next one is Tressa Calzione. I keep forgetting her last name is so made up, but it might be real Italian. Aren't a lot of listen. There is a joke on Dropout recently about if you combine enough Italianisms, you reach a thing that sounds like a noodle, and it's like it just sounds like they're calling her a calzone. Calzione might be a real last name. I don't know. It's it just tickles me so many colors. Tressa is great. She was going to be one of the characters I would have started with until I learned that, oh, in order to unlock certain boxes, you need to have the thief, and also the character you start with is the one that you always have with you. Tressa, honestly, might have been my starting character if I didn't have to deal with that. It was a toss-up between her and Cyrus in terms of, like, stuff I would be interested in playing the entire time. But, yeah, I went with Therion as my starter, and, yeah, I like the extra boxes. Tressa's story is the lightest, as well as the least connected to the others, as well as to the meta plot, I guess. In that she just kinda is going around doing some stuff. She is really just trying to figure out her place in life. And that's great, that's fine. But because of this game, as another reviewer I watched recently pointed out, the game does feel kind of like a proof of concept of a much better game. And from what I've seen and heard from Octopath Traveler 2, that is fairly correct. I'm hoping we get another Octopath game. I've heard that the developers have a lot on their plates, so we might not get it until like 2027 or so. I would love to cover that when it comes out. Octopath Traveler 2 probably next year. Anyway, yeah, Tressa's story is about how you... There's not a lot of meat. It's mostly sweets. It's mostly if like somebody give you a bowl of like, man, how do I compare the sweetheart of a girl? It's like if somebody gave you just a big old bowl full of fresh strawberries, and just sprinkled some sugar on top, and you're like, oh, that's pretty sweet. And then for some reason they took away your burger, and you're like, oh, that was gonna fill me up. I guess I'll get filled up on this just a honking big bowl of sugar-covered strawberries. In that her story is very much it's it kind of is just her going town to town, figuring stuff out. She eventually realizes that her greatest treasure is it kind of is just like the experiences along the way. And as her name and her job as merchant indicates, Tressa is somebody who learns what should be treasured. That's right. I had to do it. I guess that's enough about my favorite Italian in this game. Let's see. Next, we got the big beefy boy, Ulbrich Eisenberg, the warrior. The unbending blade, I gotta add. In between Ulbrich and Eisenberg. Didn't he come from Hornburg? There's a lot of Berg going on. I got Berg on the brain. I got burgers. We got Hornburg. We got Eisenberg. Man, also Tressa's name isn't even the funniest one to me. You'll see. It's coming up. It's great. Anyway, his actually Ulbrich's story might be the best one in terms of just how it plays into the character fantasy of a warrior, how it's a thorough line of like a dedicated, he has the thing he's got to do and then he goes and does it. And then there's still more. There's still more plot. That's chapter 3 is him kind of getting the thing that he, well, I guess his overall thing that he wants is to figure out why he wields his sword. And he gets that at the end. It's to defend the innocent. In fact, it's mechanically there in that if you boost his defense, if you have him defend and you boost it, it'll defend not just himself but other people too, which is pretty neat. I think I've done that a couple of times. But in his journey of figuring out why he wields his blade, he runs into the guy that betrayed his king, and then is like, okay, this guy's like actually live. Man, I can't. I have the footage. I can't wait to do the long form. It's gonna be so good. There's just this one part that's just stands out for me, and I'm already thinking about how I'm gonna edit it. It's when he and I can't remember his name, not Evil Griffith, the sword twink that he's at odds with. I can't remember the dude's name. Uh, I can't pull it from my brain memories. Anyway, you have this nice quiet moment, and then a prompt on screen is like, duel this guy, and it's like, oh, that's so good. Because, like, I don't think any other. Well, actually, no, that's actually interesting to bring up. Because Cyrus, his ability to scrutinize things actually comes up during his last quest, where you scrutinize books and you piece together this mystery of what this wall means. Besides the wall being very much it's got the energy of this is no place of honor. Do not enter here. I can't remember the rest of it, but it's great. Obrick, yeah. 10 out of 10. There's not much I would improve upon it. It's great. Oh, also, as I had indicated, yeah, I think the little boy that's like his little trainee dude, Philip, I think is his name. Philip's mom still doesn't get a name. She still does not get a fucking name. I even went into like the house and was like, surely Philip's mom, she's gonna get a name because she's like Obrick's teased romantic interest. No, she's still just Philip's mom. I like to imagine that instead of addressing her by name, he's just like, hello, Miss Phillips' mom. And she's like, you can call me Cassandra. Okay, Phillips' mom. Ulbrich, he's the sword guy. Next up, we got a noble woman turned to dancing. And not just dirty. I should probably say her full name. Primrose Azelhart. The last name's not too awful. A little goofy, but it's standard fantasy stuff. And her daddy issues are so severe, she's able to harness the darkness within her heart, and possibly the hearts of people that wanna. And if my mouth was wetter, I would make very sloppy sounds right now. But my mouth is in fact a bit dry from talking for nearly 15 minutes straight, and I don't feel like editing this any more than I need to, so I don't want to take a drink and then have to edit out the drink drinking. Anyway, yeah, her dad died when she was like 12 question mark, and it's been a bit. I think she's like 12 or I think she's 22 or 24 or so in the game, because she treats Tressa, who I think is 19, as a little kid. So yeah, I want to say she's like 22, 24, and it's about a decade or so since her dad died. Anyway, she was getting groomed by this dude named Simon, who was good with poems, and then he and his two buddies killed her dad. And then later on, she meets him again after killing his one of his friends, and then kills another one of his friend. And Simon reveals, like, "Hey, remember back when I was a full-grown adult reading you poetry, and that was like you were like really into that, Primrose?" And there's a flashback, and I was like, "Man, he's still just a full-grown man, and she's tiny. She's little chibi-fi little Primrose. She's little kid Primrose," and I'm like, "Man, this is not great." Simon or Simeon, this is not a great look. You gardener of plants and tremor of words. Anyway, Simeon, one of the worst in terms of just being a shitty dude. He took over like an entire town and made everybody act like they're all actors in a play. It was very it was big jonkler energy, if nothing else. His boss fight was pretty neat.
It was 10 years ago.
Overall, I liked her story. Uh, and then she gets teased at the end for like she gets a little romantic tease. I think everybody pretty much gets a romantic teaser, though. I have to talk about the next part because this romantic teasing didn't go anywhere. And also, Elfin, the apothecary, his last name's Greengrass, and that is the one that I looked at and I was like, yeah, we're playing with fire here. The apothecary, basically an alchemist, this dude, this man of the people, this guy who wears a green button-up shirt like I do. I have a similar, I don't know what you would call them, like mechanic shirts, and it's just, oh, actually, he was the other one. It was him, Tressa, or Cyrus, and then I read that if you have Therion, you can get into boxes and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I really don't want to have to backtrack, so I'm just gonna not play as Alphen or Cyrus or Tressa as my first pick. Elfin's story is also just kind of a he goes around and does stuff kind of guy. He's an apothecary, so he goes town to town and finds where plagues are and helps clean it up. And that's a fine story, right? I think I can't remember if it was the one reviewer or somebody else, and I get what they meant by saying that it's very early, like Pokemon episode by episode kind of stuff. Right, little stories and adventures. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's fantastic. It's just that sometimes you want some prime beef, but all you've got is chicken nuggies from McDonald's. And while chicken nuggies from McDonald's can be good and just easy, simple, it goes down your gullet, man, you got your throat slicked with all kinds of sauces. Those chicken nuggets just... And that's about as wet as I can make it. I'm dry here. Anyway. Eventually he meets a man named Ogden or Ogun. I can't remember at the moment. I don't think it matters. I think he only says his name once later or something like that. And I was like, oh, I guess I have a pronunciation now. So when I go through the footage, I can actually know what he's called. And so from meeting this other apothecary, he begins to learn lessons of, do some people not deserve to live if they've done bad stuff? Should you medically treat a man who is a bad criminal dude, who does bad criminal dude stuff? And I guess the answer eventually is, yeah, you should. Because he treats Ogden after learning that Ogden killed, like, one dude who, admittedly, very much deserved it. Ogden basically just did vigilante justice, which is like what 80% of the game. Like every time we kill bandits, it's basically the same stuff. It's like doesn't matter if that guy had a loving family. He brutally murdered Ogden's wife for no reason. From what I could read and what I could hear, no reason. Like Ogden took care of this. Yeah, he was a wanted. I guess he was a wanted criminal, but like killing just the wife, not coming back for Ogden, so it couldn't have been getting rid of witnesses. And it didn't sound like he stole. I don't think he stole anything. So he's just an asshole going around murdering dudes' wives.
Hello.
So yeah, maybe Elfin's story's wrong. Maybe it is cool to not give treatment to people that are bad. I mean, like, you know, treat Ogun, because he did it, like, I don't think it was any worse than neutral in terms of an act. Killing a family man when that man's hobby, or life, his lifestyle is going around killing dudes' wives. It's not like Ogun went and killed his. It's not like he pulled an Anakin. It's not like he killed the women and children too. Oh. Anyway, Elfin Greengrass, sweet old country boy. Oh yeah, I thought that it was teasing he and his like best friend growing up were gonna become fuck buddies, but no, his friend at the very least has interest somewhat in women that can read, and it's like, oh man, Elfin doesn't get any. But I don't. Yeah, I think. Let's see. I now have to talk about it. Let's see. Ophelia, yeah, she doesn't get her. I don't think she gets a romantic thing. It's more. Hers is very touching in that it's like a connection with her not even half sister, her adoptive sister. And before you say it, I don't think she wants to fuck her adoptive sister. I just got the nagging feeling. Cyrus, the princess's distant cousin. I think was she a baroness or something? I can't remember her title thing. Tressa. I don't know, the one other merchant dude? The young guy? Kinda, not really. Hers also doesn't really have romance. Obrick has Philip's mom. Primrose has the former captain of the guard's son. I can't remember his name. Yeah, Alfin. I thought he was gonna get sloppy gay sex with his best friend, but we don't live in that timeline of Elfin Greengrass getting his green ass fucked. And with that, I guess I'll move on to the next one. Theory, man, this episode's gonna be like 25 something minutes. Anyway, Therion. He too has somebody to fuck. Man, and after that's Haunted. She doesn't have anybody to fuck. I don't think she got anybody to fuck. Therion. His story, pretty good. He was my main dude. It's very much, MacGuffins. You gotta go get these Dragon Balls or whatever, like the dragon... They are like dragon gems or something, so some sort of dragon objects that are orbs. So let's just call them Dragon Balls. He has got to collect the three? Did he collect 3 over time? He had to collect an assortment of balls so that the gates of Finis or something doesn't get open. I think they're the key to it. Not bad stories, overall. I wouldn't rank it super duper high. I do like that when he defeats his main villain, the main villain is like not hard to beat, and then he gets betrayed. So basically, the entire thing is about trust and all that, and it kind of ties into the fact that he might get his dick wet from the rich noble woman. I don't know if she has a title. I don't think she's royalty or anything. I think that she's just nobility. She just has a big mansion with some big Dragon Balls. And I don't know what Therion's gonna do with those big old balls, but he might do something if you know what I'm talking about. Therion's story, it's decent. Skipping on ahead to Haunted. Her story's theme is love? Question mark. Stories? Question mark. Family? Question mark. Basically, she doesn't want to admit to it, but her like trainer dude which for some reason they don't. I don't know if this is like old English, but it's instead of saying apprentice, they just say prentice, and it just feels a little weird. Anyway, her master, her trainer, her her old dude that is bad at gambling, and he's a little stuck in a rock in a hard place, if you know what I'm talking about, and if you've watched along, it should have been shown up by now. Anyway, her master, Dun Diddly Darn, got frozen into a stone because the evil villainous monster Red Eye has some Gorgon ass powers. Anyway, she won't admit it, but she loves her daddy figure guy. And also her cat friend, who kind of sucks at combat, honestly. I keep trying to use the cute kitty. Cute kitty, not too good. Uh. Oh, her master has that one lady who, for some reason, is wealthy enough to have a stagecoach driver and a handmaiden. I had to go get her those things. I had to go acquire two people to do it for her. But yeah, she's apparently rich enough to finance a former prostitute becoming a handmaiden, and a former carriage driver into becoming a current carriage driver. So yeah, his dick. I think the implication is that isn't his name like Zonnet, kind of like her name is Hannah. It's something silly and goofy like that. I think the implication is he does go and dick down that one widow or whatever, and then just kind of comes back and is like, "Oh yes, my apprentice. We need to go kill a big monster." And they go and kill the big monster, and he gets a big amount of money, and he goes and gambles and loses, and he's like, "I'm gonna go get my dick wet." So anyway, her story is decent. It's all right. I the emotional. I'd have to watch the footage again to feel the emotional highs of it, but it's been days since I finished her story. I've played so much Octopath Traveler. It's my brain's fried. I still need to do some side quests and then beat the evil big boss at the end. I gotta do the secret ending, and then I can move to the cute little visual novel game with the trans girls and the one trans girl, the one bisexual girl, and the one asexual girl. It's gonna be great. And then after that, Morrowind. And after Morrowind, I'm thinking Celeste. And after Celeste, I'm thinking Yakuza 0. That's it. Have a good. It's Mother's Day when I'm recording this. It will not be Mother's Day when you watch this. Anyway, I hope you had a good MILF day.